Happy February, everyone. Thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Joanna the Medium. These are going to be readings for February 2018. They are general readings, so I tap into various aspects. What I focused on the most was to give you information that will ultimately help you become a stronger individual that is able to create your abundance, your joy, and your happiness. So I always have that in mind, and Spirit will always give me information that will help you understand yourself on a much deeper level, and also help you understand where you're going and what it is that you might do in order to help you accomplish certain goals. The energy of the eclipse of January 31st came into play in these readings, and I actually talk about that extensively on the last radio show, which I have posted, and I think the link is down below for you, where I do readings and conversation with Amma, and in a second hour we talk about how the January 31st eclipse affects us personally and also globally. And I actually channeled some messages from Spirit about this eclipse, which I'm not an astrologer, and I'm confirm it, so that was actually quite neat for me. So if you want to listen to it, do so. That link is down below, and because that energy will definitely affect you for the next 6 months, and I saw the effects of it in all the readings, including the relationship readings. So many things are leaving because we are being prepared for something bigger, for something new, for something more exciting. So you might have noticed the shift of energy the last few weeks. I certainly have, which is why these videos are late, but they will also keep these energies, the shifts will transpire throughout the next 6 months or so, I've been told. These are general readings, so they may not make sense to you right away. They almost never make sense to you at the beginning, so please listen to them at the end. Also, the love readings, which I go into detail about relationships of any sort. If you would like to have that for the entire 2018, that link is down below for you, so go ahead and go there. And I think that's all I have. I want to wish you wonderful Valentine's Day if you celebrate it. If you don't, I wish you wonderful February regardless. And without further ado, of course, if you would like a private session, that information is down below. But without further ado, let's start off with your general February readings. And of course, listen to your rising sign and your moon sign, because they will often add way more information than the sun sign reading. So without further ado, let's move on to readings. Hello, beautiful Aries. This is going to be your reading for the month of February 2018. Let me start off with some messages. First of all, you have the overall number you come up with is with a 9. The actual card for the entire month is the number 9. So there's an energy of endings here. Now, I'm being reminded that in January we had the eclipse. So that's going to spill over towards February. It's actually going to spill over for the next 6 months, my understanding is. So there seems to be an energy of endings. I always say endings doesn't necessarily equal bad. Endings often are a very good thing. So there's an energy of moving on towards something, or in a process of deciding to move on or end something. The overall number is also the number 10. Sorry, yeah, it is the number 9. Sorry, forget the number 10. No, that's not that. The number 8 was also shown to me, which is strength, and 1, which is new beginnings. So it looks like in the month of February, I also hear number 1. There's a couple of things. You're going to feel really good, and as a result, you're going to have a brand new beginning, or there's going to be an opportunity to start something new that has a very, very firm foundation. Also, some of you, your strength will be tested at times, and this is going to be around finances, I feel, and something to do with negotiation. So for some of you, if you are going to be negotiating a raise, or renegotiating a contract, or renegotiating something, I feel like you will need an extra oomph of of strength to deal with whatever this is. There's nothing bad about it, but there's it requires a lot of strength, and it could be various things. I see it more in a work environment. Now, let me just see if there's anything else here. It feels like some of you have been feeling like you were literally chained to a cross. I know it's a really weird statement, but that is what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing, okay, crucified. Okay, this is really strange, but some of you feel like you have been crucified. And I'm going to let you look up the word crucified aside from the obvious meaning and Jesus. But some of you feel like you have been crucified either in the past or very recently. And point is, you are choosing to no longer identify yourself with that, whether it's a person, whether it is a situation, or it's the way you feel about yourself. In general terms, you are choosing to no longer associate yourself with that kind of a thing, which is a great thing. And that will allow you to move forward and also have a fresh and brand new beginning. There's a tremendous amount of release here. Now, when I was recording the readings for relationships, there was a lot of that being talked about, a lot of release. All throughout, and the number was actually quite amazing. But anyway, that is what I'm being shown. Release, entanglement, just moving forward with something, and moving forward often signifies leaving something behind. So let's go with the cards. The card that depicts the entire month, or the theme, if you will, you have the Hermit, or Solitude in this deck. It is I want to say right away, Book of Life. It's a month where you are going to either have a lot of introspection, and also introspection, or also you need to connect with your inner divine aspect in order to deal with something that's happening in your life. It could be a general thing, or it could be something specific. There's a need to remain, almost to remain in, no, I don't want to say seclusion, because that's not what it is. There's a real need to go within in the month of February. There's a lot of contemplation going on. Yeah, so for many of you, you may feel like you want to start to meditate, or you feel the need to meditate, or you need to meditate. 9 is also number of endings. There's something that's being worked out in the background that you're going to deal with, and you need some introspection. So that's the overall theme. It's a good theme. What are you leaving behind? Fantastic. 6 of Swords in reverse, Hanged Men in reverse, and the Star in reverse. Don't panic, that's all in the past. So this is what you are leaving. Hallelujah. You are leaving feeling like you cannot move on. So that is a feeling of stuckness. Hanged Man in reverse is literally, well, inability to move on for sure, but it's also, there is, myrter is what comes to mind. M-Y-R-T-E-R. I always have difficulty with that word. Stuckness is the ultimate word here that I want to say. And the Star in reverse is a feeling of hopelessness. Now, this is what's behind. What's amazing here is at the end, you actually have a star in upright position. So you are leaving feeling hopeless, feeling stuck, and feeling like you are not able to move on. Many of you will be a contractual thing, which means it pertains to a contractual situation. So relationships are contractual, marriages, certainly work. Oh gosh, I lost the train of thought. Contracts. I just want to say the word contracts. So you're leaving that behind. Sorry about that. Now, what's happening in the month of February? We have hard work. This is 8 of coins. So this is you being hard at work, working at your craft. So this is you working hard on your relationship, working hard on your work. This also feels to me, for many of you, studying. Okay, project. There's also a contractual project. Thank you. So you are leaving something behind, and some of those things can be a project that you thought you couldn't get out of. But this is what you're dealing with. Hard work in the month of January. Now I'm asking the question, why such hard work? What is he working on? So for some of you, you are about to move on to something else. This is about looking at the horizon and deciding which way you want to go and create. So it's about expansion, it's about preparing, and I feel like you are working really hard because you are preparing to move on towards something better. This is about creation. Many of you will be in the process of creation. Now, what do I mean by this? You might be working really hard on your resume. You might be working really hard on working on your skill, perfecting your craft. For some of you, you will be presenting certain information to somebody, whether it's a resume, whether it's something in a written form, whether it's a contract proposition, whether it's an idea, an invention. There is something here that's being worked on and is about to be given birth to, and that's going to happen in the near future. This can also pertain to relationships. There's a lot of new beginnings when we talked about relationship reading, but this is about I want to say moving on, although this is not traditionally, I don't think, the meaning of the card. This is a positive card. It's about expansion. Now, he's asking me to pull a little bit more cards, which is always very good. Okay, so what additional information can we give me about Aries in February? Okay, 2 cards. Okay, perfect. So you have the Lovers in reverse, and you have the 7 of Swords in reverse. What this is telling me here is that you are moving on, or about to move on, okay, from a situation where you are fundamentally no longer on the same page. This is the Lovers in reverse, like we talked about. So there is either lack of harmony, lack of balance, lack of stability, but most importantly, being on different pages with somebody else. So if you are with a company, for example, it may be a time for you to look at other opportunities or start looking and deciding what it is that you want to do. It is probably why this guy is popping up. They need to go within, and the number 9 for endings, because you are getting prepared for something. And with that comes decision and leaving things behind. The other card you have is the 7 of Swords in reverse. To me, this card is it's a betrayal card. It's somebody who is sneaky. But this is recovering from that. So perhaps you have felt lied to. You have felt stabbed in the back. This could be work, relationship, whatever it is, or it's just the feeling like, you know what, I no longer belong here. This just doesn't work for me anymore. And you are looking at different horizons. And yeah, this can pertain to any aspect of your life because it is a general reading. So where are you going with this? Okay. Well, you have 9 of Swords in reverse, don't panic, and then you have the Star. So what it's telling me here is that, because these are literally 2 opposites. This is hopelessness and this is full of hope. 2 complete opposite scales, one extreme and the other. What this is saying to me is that in the near future, we are talking about February, so this is going to transpire in February or actually in March. But what I see here is that in the near future, you may temporarily feel a sense of sudden hopelessness or panic, but right after, something is going to happen where it's going to help you literally turn that around, because this is also rebirth. This is emotional rebirth, and sometimes in order to climb out of a hole, we have to land to the very bottom so that there is no further time to go or place to go, and then we spring up and it offers us an opportunity to be reborn once again. I believe you also have that card in your love reading or your relationship reading. And remember, this card is here. So this is hopelessness, and this comes back as full of hope. So it looks to me like month of February is full of surprises. I hear the word endings, but I also hear blessings in disguise. Many of you are going to have a turnaround in your current relationships and the status of your relationship. So again, this could be expansion around work in your current position, or you are going to be expanding in your relationship or a certain area of your life. Now, let me just pull more information here. What is important for you to focus on? I'm seeing the number 8. So strength, again, very important. Always remember that you are a strong individual and you can create anything you want as long as you put your mind to it. So if you have any moments of doubts in the month of February, it's temporary, because I'm seeing it here. It's temporary. Considering also where you came from or what you're leaving behind, inability to move forward, feeling stuck, feeling hopeless, and feeling like you can't see clearly, I can see how that energy might drag a little bit more in February, but ultimately this is really what's going to happen. There's rebirth and renewal. Meditation, very important. For some of you, meditation could be as simple as being on a treadmill and listening to empowering songs or empowering words. What is it that they need to focus on in the month of January? May is coming up for you for some reason. Okay. Also, change of thought patterns is indicated here. All right. So we have perfect. Okay. So the first card you have is poised. What this is saying here is the beginning, the bright movement forward, brand new beginning is inevitable, but you are not quite yet ready to move on. So if you are contemplating something, it sounds to me like it's not going to be in February. That's why I said it's going to be probably a little bit further down the road. So this is what this is saying, and you have to be okay with that. If you are looking to change something drastically, or quit a job, or quit a relationship, or start a relationship, whatever it may be, it feels like month of February you may not be quite ready yet. Okay. The second part here is the treasure island. What this is saying to me is that it's really important for you to be mindful of the thoughts you feed yourself. It's about your consciousness and how you project yourself forward. Okay. So if you, particularly when it comes to intimate relationships, if you project yourself, or if you feel that you don't have a lot of worth, because this is worth, this is like amazing, this is treasure. In reverse, it's being mindful of your own inherent shadow traits that make you feel less than. So this talks about poverty thinking. So for some of you, and I think this might have come up before, but for some of you, it's important to address any state of consciousness that is geared towards poverty in your mind. So this typically arises as a way of us growing up, and we just adopt it because we don't know any different. But when we have a poverty mind set up, we will create relationships and situations of any sort that will continually prove us correct. So it's about change of consciousness here, and putting an end to something that isn't real, which is the way you see yourself, particularly if it's not in favorable ways. Now, some of you may say, and to me, well, how can I not see myself in favorable ways when I lack this, and that? What I'm going to say to that is, yes, we all lack something, but our lack is based on what others tell us we should be. Because our thoughts are never really our thoughts. Rarely. Our thoughts are there, but we have to first uproot the status quo. So point I'm trying to make here, to make the long story short, don't let other people define you, who you are. And if that has been the case in the past, Let the faulty definition of you cease to exist. So this is about fundamentally changing how you look at yourself, and therefore what you expect of yourself and also of others. Hugely, hugely important. And what I was going to say here is that to find, if you have a mindset like that, going within and having introspection can help you gain that awareness. So that's what I have for you. Number 10 is being shown. So you are approaching an end of a cycle. And that's evident actually in the relationship reading. That was hugely evident. So I hope this makes sense. Please be mindful that this is a general reading, and yes, it can apply to any situation of your life, because my messages are meant to expose our shadow selves that keeps us away from being the best that we can be and experiencing the best that we can experience. And yeah, so keep in mind that if you listen to it at the beginning of the month, you're not going to be able to make sense of it probably, but almost always at the end of the month, it will make sense to you. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, listening, and subscribing. This means more to me than you will probably ever know. If you would like a private session, that information is down below for you. For love readings or relationship reading, I should say, that information is down below for you as well. Thank you again so much. Happy Valentine's Day, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.